Piers Morgan says, so Pearl Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the clip that sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
Okay, well,
Okay, I don't think those are prerequisites to voting. Those are prerequisites to, having a good wife and a respectable wife for marriage. Let's see what she's talking about.
Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santini, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you'd be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about, but overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men.
Okay, look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true.
At the time. Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. Before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
But what's that going to do with them having the vote?
Well, it also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the draft.
Okay, but specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family?
Yo, shout out to Kevin Samuels. If you feel odd, like you're listening to him through a Caucasian lady, that's exactly what's happening. She learned the whole game from Kevin Samuels. I think she would even admit that. She tends to talk about Rollo Tomasi and all them and that, but she speaks right out of Kevin Samuels' mouth. And it's cool. I think she should give him more credit, but let's see what else she's talking about.
Family cohesion, for example.
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have 2 votes.
Ava, your mouth seems to have dropped about.
No, do you know what it's sort of like?
I know.
It's just sort of a bit galaxy brain. I feel like, the stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
They just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean,
allegedly?
What
do you mean allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. That's
Cap. Allegedly, she said allegedly read, and women weren't allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school. It's such cap. Feminists paint history as if women were literally not like they were subhuman. I think what they're doing is they're taking the slavery story and they're putting that on women. And so they're making women the oppressed so that they forget about pretty much the brothers. Because, the sisters, the melanated women, they're still women. So they get put into the oppression category because they're women. And I think what this is an attempt to just forget about the brothers who were obviously oppressed. I had a Caucasian lady hit me up on Instagram and tell me about oppression. I'm like, do you see the color of my skin? Girl, how you going to talk to me about oppression? Like, brothers are the oppressed group in society without a doubt, but we too strong to really complain about it, and we just find a way anyway.
Incorrect. The first
Okay, what
female
year are we
property, the
talking
first
about?
female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't.
Okay, and the female property owner, she's probably talking about a slave owner. Straight up. She doesn't explain it, but and then yeah, you know, in the 1600s they had you know, slave owners, and you know, a lot of them, I can't remember the stat, but it was a pretty decent sizable amount of them were women.
Work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that will be inherited property.
The first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that inherited?
No, it wasn't. It was.
See, that old girl from the UK don't even know what she's talking about. Okay, so the first millionaire woman was Madam C.J. Walker, right? She put the hair care formula out there for all the sisters around the country, and it took off like wildfire. And she was a millionaire, full on. She was born in 1867, and she was a sister. That's one thing. I feel like they throwing out the points, but they should give a little bit of background, because if you do, our people start sprinkling into these you know, talking points. So Madam C.J. Walker was a sister, melanated sister from America, and she's the first millionaire. She even beat the Europeans as far as millionaire status from a woman's standpoint.
Self-made.
Yes, it was.
Self-made.
Yes,
Yes, it
and
was.
She never inherited land.
She didn't.
See, she's saying she didn't inherit that because she's assuming it's a Caucasian lady. No, this is a sister. What's she gonna inherit? You know what I mean? And yeah, she's the first millionaire for sure.
Not
what law
inherited.
permitted that?
What?
What law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been.
Let's get on to the vote. So what I don't
She said, what law permitted that? Like there are laws against women making money. That's crazy.
understand is, a part of your message. I've researched you today. And hang on a minute.
Okay.
Your big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
Well, I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't
Care
made
about
the
women
point
too,
yet. Because of feminism. Okay. What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Mhm.
How is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives. They have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around. They don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again,
I
men
think
do
that's what
all of
most
the.
feminists are
Well,
saying.
then okay, I'd love for the feminists. Please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society.
Why
They're
don't you
open.
go and
They're
work there?
hiring because I don't equate for. I don't think men or women are equal until we do the
Right.
equal work. So no, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely
That's
not.
a bit-
No, but you
Wow.
said you were
That
a
was-
volleyball.
Wow.
You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think
But
that
I don't
can
have more
do
strength.
those
I don't have
jobs.
more strength
But
than
I'm
the
not going
average
to take your
man.
right away to
I don't
do
have
it.
I don't have more strength than the average man. But again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be
That's
equal.
not
Also,
what-
you also, but you want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because
Okay, so once again, Kevin Samuel's points. Men built the world that women live in. All the major infrastructure in society is ran and operated by men, maintained by men. No matter what, all the difficult, dangerous jobs, workplace death. What is it? 93% of all workplace deaths are by men. They're just doing the dangerous jobs, and that's why they get paid more. They actually should get paid a lot more than they currently do in comparison to women, if you ask me.
I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate and the average marriage
Why is that all down
8
to the
years.
women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why
But
feminists ruin it?
you asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish
Yeah.
that first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us
But
part.
doesn't the sanctity of
Man, I agree with her. Because it's like, it's not like you don't have an option to be with someone long term. But if you get married, this should be it. Yeah, that's it. Straight up. Divorce shouldn't be so easily. It shouldn't be a way to just get money and extract resources from men. You should follow the vows. Like, I don't even understand how they just forgot. They say the vows and it's just like, oh, I was just kidding. Or I meant it then, but I don't mean it now. Like, literally, like, why are we saying that? Sickness and health, richer for poorer, till death do us part. Like, why are you saying that in front of all of the people, in front of God? Like, why are you doing that if you're just going to divorce and take his money? So, yeah, I agree. Like, it's not like you can't have a boyfriend or a long-term partner, a long-term relationship. Just don't get married. Just don't get married. Philippines got it still.
Marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin, so you wouldn't be able to get married.
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was. But, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think,
hang on. Okay, if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely. And
so she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Yeah, but you can't.
You might not like them.
But I'm here to challenge
Isn't she exercising her rights as are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
No, I wouldn't. Don't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering.
I would actually love to see Ava Satin on an oil rig.
Seriously. There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it. And me, I'm saying
the same job that I'm doing right now.
When you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice. And that's the thing.
If you ain't trying to keep them, don't get married. Plain and simple. If marriage is too hard for you, don't get married, bro. Just don't get involved. Or you already know, like, nah, I want to try something else. Or if he does this, or if he ain't making no money, I'm out. He ain't about to mess up my life. Then just don't get married. Keep your freedom. You don't have to, especially in this day and age. Women nor men need or have to get married. Like, women have plenty of opportunity created by all the men creating the society and making it so user-friendly. They don't have to get married. If you love them, then just be together. Y'all can live together. Just don't be married.
Like, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava, I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff. When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I mean, I believe in agency. So I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand.
I'd like to say.
Ooh, that was slick how she did that. She's like, I believe in agency, and I think women have the agency to look after their children after the divorce. Like, why are they her children? See how it presupposes that automatically the women are going to get custody. They're her kids. It's sneaky what they do. Look, feminists need to be brought to task. They need to be debated more often. You need to call out these little innuendos that they got, these little sneaky ways of communicating. You need to call that stuff out directly and then bring it up to your senator, bring it up to your Congress people. These laws need to change. This is enough. All of this is cap. They've been capping. They just talking about history in this crazy way, like women couldn't do nothing. They just flat out lying. They just be capping, gaslighting.
Before the 1920s,
you know what I mean?
Women could speak openly. This idea that like women couldn't talk the last 500 years, there have been women throughout history.
The American state education system has failed before.
There have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know what I don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have abortions, you say that they have STDs.
You know, the question is, are they fat? Yes or no?
why pass
The
on
average
a
American
judgment?
woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest. We
Like-
now celebrate morbid obesity as some kind of body positive thing, and it is complete nonsense. So actually, on that point again, there's a bit of truth in
and this
that.
is the problem. This is the problem.
How have we come to celebrate morbid obesity as body positive?
Well,
It's nonsense.
We're not talking about morbid obese. I was actually watching your podcast earlier, and you spoke to someone who was, I would say, probably a size 12, and you called her fat, obese, and a divorcee.
She was fat, obese, and a divorcee.
wasn't.
I mean, like, I don't know what to say. This is the thing, women, we don't want to live in
You know what I'm saying? You see, look, a lot of people be mad at Pearl for the simple fact that she's got these views on slavery that are pretty reprehensible. I agree. Her views on slavery is nonsense. It reminds me, I'm gonna be real. It reminds me of when I look at the current the current presidents that are alive right now. You know, you got Jimmy Carter, you got Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Joe Biden, all descend from slave owners. All of them, 100%. Barack Obama especially. He never talks about it. He directly descends from the institution of slavery, right? Like that's of his direct bloodline. Only one who doesn't is my man Trump. Like, he doesn't have anything to do with that. He's from Germany. He's German. He came over later. I would ask Pearl, because she acts like someone who descends from a slave owner, the way she talks about George Washington and how they were slave owners, but the people who were enslaved were looking up to him like a father, and it was more like a father figure. When we know all of the terrible things that happen, and it's one of two things: either she feels really guilty, or she doesn't feel guilty, but she doesn't like the guilt that's laid upon her people, or the black eye that's laid upon her people, because it's very clear that everyone knows that they treated another group of people inhumanely, you know, and she just doesn't like that. She wants to think that the wealth that they have and their position and standing came from just them working hard and being good people, or she actually descends from a slave owner. She found out, she looked at her bloodline and found out she descends from that, and she doesn't like it, and she wants to undo it, because I believe she's Irish, and a lot of Irish people are very cruel. They have a history of it, especially with our people. A lot of them were the ones in the South dealing with that, and you know, committing those crimes against humanity and the whole nine. So she could, I'm not saying she does, because I don't know her family line, but her behavior seems like that, and she has some reprehensible views on slavery, right? But when it comes to this stuff, she's just straight up. Like, she's a woman who can espouse these views when a man could never say that. You know what I mean? She was fat, obese, and a divorcee. A man would be like talked about like a dog if he said that, and all women would Voltron up and unite for the simple fact that he's a man. But she's able to say it. She's like, she was fat, obese, and a divorcee. Those are objective facts. That's what it was. I'm not calling her name. That's what it is.
reality. You don't want to say things that are true. Was she fat? Yes. Was she a divorcee? Yes. These things are just objective facts.
Okay, I'm going to have to
And
objectively.
she insulted me first. They always do.
I'm going to have to objectively end the debate, but it was an interesting conversation. I think we should get you two back together
I had
as a
great
matter of urgency. Thank you very much, Pearl. Thank you, Ava.
All right. Let me stop sharing. Yo, that was live. That was live. Like I said, you know, she has some hangups when you talk about her views with my people, melanated folks, and you know, how they engage with Europeans. Obviously, that's a touchy subject, and it's always going to be contentious. However, when she sticks on the women issues versus men issues and keep race out of it and just, you know, deal with the sex and the gender, man, I don't be disagreeing. I just think she should give my man Kevin Samuels the credit that he deserves, because gosh, in the beginning, I'd say 90% of her talking points were directly for them. Like, she just wrote down his points and started spitting them. Now she's getting her own views and her own opinions, but the base of it still comes from him. If you guys found value in this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel, because I'm pumping out more content. I was gone for about a week because I had some stuff to do in the real world on my hustle. But now I'm back to YouTube, getting it. And I got more and more videos for you. So Once again, this is the Gamma Effect. I'm coming at you as normal. I got more coming for you. And once again, go ahead and like and subscribe for your man. And I'll talk to y'all later. I'm going to let y'all vibe out to this music.